Welcome back. Before we move into talking about how to manage your research most effectively, I want to step back and recap what we went over in class, well, whenever we had class last. We should have talked about the thesis, your thesis, which is absolutely critical to you doing well on, well, any kind of research paper ever, anywhere, not just my class. For this assignment, it's super important, and so I want to step back and remind you and let you think about what the heck a thesis is again. What the heck is a thesis? Well, you should remember, or at least have notes on, since we talked about it, and you have a whole video about it, that a thesis is a claim supported by specific reasoning. Something really specific, not like dubstep is the best form of music ever, because it's great. That's an opinion, not a thesis. A real thesis would be something like dubstep is an enterprising form of music because it combines traditional electronica, traditional music synths, traditional techno, and modern pop music into a whole new form. It's an enterprising form of music. You're giving some specific reasoning and a claim. It's an enterprising music form, not just a derivative, annoying thing that you guys play on YouTube. Totally don't think that. Okay, so thesis. A claim supported by a specific line of reasoning. You're going to give one of the examples that you'll talk about, the most important example of your reasoning, right there in your thesis. You'll sum it up into one short sentence. Well, maybe a long sentence. Depends on who you are. Get it? Okay, if you have more questions about this, please bring them to class. We'll talk about them in person. Until then, we are going to talk about managing your research. When you're writing a research paper, you're going to have citations. You're going to be using other people's information to inform your argument. That's fine. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But it can get a little confusing about who said what. He said, she said, they said, it said, I said, who said what. You got to keep good notes. One way that I've learned how to do this really well is by keeping an annotated bibliography. An annotated bibliography is about exactly what it sounds like. It's a bibliography where you keep your notes. This is what it looks like. I'm going to throw it up on screen right now. So what you're looking at is an example from an annotated bibliography. You should see the citation running from right to left, and this is the proper MLA citation, as it would normally appear in your bibliography. Keep that in mind, followed by a very brief paragraph explaining why this source is or is not useful to you. You might have a source that, if you're writing about how awesome dubstep is, you encounter an article that's like, dubstep sucks. So you would write in your annotated bibliography, I researched this article, turns out it's not useful, doesn't support my thesis, not going to use it anymore. Or maybe you find an interview with Skrillex, and Skrillex talks about what dubstep is, and what it means to him, and how he does it, and why he started it. If you find something like that, then in that little paragraph, you'll write something like, this article talks about Skrillex. In it, Skrillex defines dubstep, explains how he got the idea to start it, and explains how it's made. So now, when you're going back to write your paper, you'll see your short little reasoning of why that particular article is useful. And so when you're building your outline, when you're writing your paper, when you're revising, you can go back and double check to see, hey, why is this thing useful? Why did I bother keeping a citation? Why did I use my time reading this one and not that one? You've got a succinct, short little paragraph that explains why that article was useful. In our assignment, from day one, we talked about keeping at least 5 sources. Now in your actual paper, if you look at the rubric under the research column, it says that you annotated 5 resources and that you at least used 3 of them. That means you could throw 2 away and say, hey, they really weren't useful, or I just didn't have space to work these guys in. That's okay. But for your annotated bibliography, which is one of the mini assignments that I want you to turn in, I want to see 5 of them with 5 paragraphs explaining why that particular article, resource, interview, video, song, play, movie, whatever it is that you use to inform your research article is useful. Why did you use your time with this and not that? That's what I want to know as a teacher, so that I can see, hey, are you doing good research? Or at least, are you doing research at all? We'll see. Before I hang up, what verb do we use for this? I don't know. It's all new to me. Before I hang up this video, before I hang up this YouTube, I'm going to give you a little tip. When you make an annotated bibliography, you're actually making your bibliography. Now, I know that's like, why is that important? But I just think about this. Everybody struggles with writing the actual bibliography, with taking their sources and formatting it. When you do your bibliography, you've already found your sources, and you've already compiled them according to MLA, standards. A whole part of the essay is done for you later on. Instead of having to rush to get your works cited page together, you just go to the annotated bibliography, you take the sources that you used, and you kick them over into the essay. That easy. It's awesome. It saves you a ton of time. And with resources like NightSight or the Purdue OWL, it saves you even more time. All you got to do is go to the website, plug the information in,